Welcome to Joe's Astrology. And I just had a conversation with somebody on Bumble, and this actually happens somewhat often. I wouldn't say often, but it happens occasionally, or I definitely notice it as well. And the question is, am I humble or am I arrogant? Or I don't mean to split it that way, but I'm asking myself this question. Am I a humble person? Am I an arrogant person? Do I mean well? Do I want to help people? Do people see that uh, I'm arrogant? Do they see that I'm humble? Do they see that I want to help them? Do they see that I care? And I got my Starbucks goddess right here, Aphrodite. Don't usually go to Starbucks very often, but had that from yesterday. Treated myself with a nice $3 black coffee. And I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna post the conversation on here. I have it right here on the screen, just kind of scrolling through. And so this person asks me if I'm psychic, and as soon as I get that question, I know where it's going. And I'm like, no, maybe slightly. I do astrology, I do tarot, and then they start talking about tarot and if I'm intuitive and if I read the cards or do I read a book or look at a book, and then she starts telling me just out of the blue. Well, let me preface this by saying I said go check out my YouTube channel, and I do this often. I'm like I just go check out my YouTube channel. I'm not advertising. It's just like especially on a site like Bumble. Especially lately too, I'm just tired of the games. So it's like, go check out my YouTube channel. You can see everything about me. You can see me talking. You can see me almost as close to real life as you can get. See what I'm about, etc. And they almost never go look. Sometimes they do, but most of the time they don't. And this one, of course, didn't go look. And she's like, you need to humble yourself. You're arrogant. I can see it. And I'm like, and um, she's it says on her thing that she's a psychotherapist or something, and then she starts talking about how she can see. She says, I can see more than 90% of humanity, and I'm like, oh, I just did a video on that. You could check it out. You're probably in the spiritual state of consciousness. No. This person is not in the spiritual state of consciousness, and I'm gonna start getting into that here. Of course, she did not go look at my videos, and she just kept going on and on about how I'm arrogant and I need to humble myself, and the universe will reward me, etc. And I'm stuck. I'm frustrated. Now I won't deny her that I do, and I just did a video on this too. But like with YouTube, the past week, it's been like something's changed and it's not suggesting my content. So I did a video on like being frustrated, but I'm not like really that frustrated. It's part of the course, and I know that. So that might be interesting. Like, oh, maybe she is psychic. No, she's not psychic. And I let her go on, and then I asked her, "Did you look at my videos? Where did you get this from?" And she's like, "No, I didn't watch your videos. I can see it in your eyes. I can see it in your pictures." Now, I also put on the screen my pictures that I have on Bumble, and I'm trying to think to myself, well, and I said to her, I was like, well, I rarely get this I've actually been told that I'm very humble in person, and I rarely, occasionally you might get someone who dislikes you and might interpret you a certain way, and I'm like, but rarely do I get called arrogant. Like, actually, you've never seen Mike. Like, I can be arrogant. I can be arrogant. Most of the time, I'm just joking. I'm having fun. And most people haven't seen that side of me. Only even on here on YouTube. Only in real life, there's only a few people who have really seen my rants and my arrogant side. And I'm not going to get into if they're justified or if it's true arrogance or not. But I do a lot of like reflection on that as well, like about being arrogant and humble, and the things that I do in my life and the things that I care about are very humble. So just getting back to my point with this girl, she's not in the spiritual state at all. Okay, to go on a platform like Bumble or any platform really where you've never met a person. First of all, never meeting them is one thing. Never seen a video of them, just a photograph of them literally standing there taking a picture of themselves, and you call them arrogant, stuck, frustrated, etc. Those pictures were taken uh, 2 years ago, and I guess it's possible for someone to say that like your entire life, like I talk about this with the South Node, like your entire life is a feeling of being stuck, but it kind of is what it is. It's not gonna really change. But to call somebody that without ever speaking to them in person is ego and arrogance. And this is what I mean by not being in the spiritual state, because this is so rampant with fake, which what I would call fake spiritual people, that they think they're intuitive. And intuition is so dangerous. It is so dangerous. And don't take my word for it. Just think about, because that's what I've done. I've thought about it for a long period of time. I've sat with it, and I've seen these people, and intuition is so dangerous. And there's a lot of people in religions who feel that they're very intuitive, etc. And it's one thing, even in business and sales, that it's taught, and it's something that I live by. And let's say someone has a look on their face like this, and you walk by them, and you're like, oh, you might get a bad feeling, or maybe you get something, like she said, off of his look. And then I might walk up to him completely open. Hi, nice to meet you. My name is Joe. How can I help you? And then they might still look like this, but they're like, yeah, I'm looking for this, and like, can you help? And then you help them out. You get them what they want, and they're fine. They're grateful. They thank you, etc. They move on with their day. But just by looking at their look or even feeling their energy. Now, sometimes you can, but oftentimes, my point is, oftentimes you're wrong. And I would say 90% of the time we're wrong when we use our quote unquote intuition. And they teach that in sales because you have to be an investigator. You can't be afraid. You can't be making stuff up in your head based on your intuition. People that are in sales usually do well because they go straight in. They don't think. And then they deal with what happens when it happens. They're not afraid. They're not, even if they go straight in 90% of the time, it's a decent interaction. They might not get the sale, but it's a decent interaction. And then maybe 10% of the time it's a bad interaction. But to sit there and try to like feel out like, whoa, was this, and try to guess and claim to be psychic, you can't do that and be in sales. And it's a lesson that I think it's a valuable lesson for most people, even for people that are sensitive. I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with being sensitive or being empathic or intuitive, but you have to question your intuition. Before you go in, before you claiming, like I take myself an example. I would say people, I read astrology and I read tarot. And does that mean I'm psychic? Absolutely not. Did I learn it? Absolutely. Did I put in a lot of work? And can anyone learn this? Absolutely. Can you learn it and get as good as I am? I'm not sure about that. I think people have a certain brain for certain things, and their brain's wired for certain things, and with like their interests and stuff like that. Can you get good, and can anyone get good enough? Probably. I mean, there's math involved and things like that, and other things. But when people ask me, like she did, am I psychic? No, I'm not psychic. I don't claim to be psychic. And if you think I'm psychic, you're misunderstanding astrology and tarot. And a lot of people are doing this. They're misunderstanding. They think that astrology, tarot, Kabbalah, psychism, all that is just lumped in this like supernatural metaphysical category. There's really not much metaphysical about it. You learn it. Everyone's going to come to similar conclusions. There's only so many conclusions you can come to by studying astrology. It's a real thing. It's a real phenomenon. Tarot might be a little bit different, but these are real bodies in the sky that you're following. It's anyone can do their own investigation, their own test. So this idea of being intuitive has nothing to do with astrology. I mean, it can be an add-on, but fundamentally, there's nothing to do with astrology. And if anything, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated when I come across these cases because it's just sad. Frankly, it's sad, and to me, that is a expression of ego, and I'm wondering where the humility is to be able, like, what, even me with all my knowledge, like, it's like I'm questioning it. It's like, what is giving you the credibility to say that? And then the answer usually is from the unknown one. I'm not going to say his or her name or its name. And that to me that's the big E word. That's the A word. So in all humility, I hope this finds you well, and I wish you the best.